Hey guys, this is Mrs. C. This is instruction for help for lesson 3 problem set. There are 2 pages. I will start with A, number 1A. Let's see. Okay, 380 plus 200. Now this is asking you to solve the set of problems using the arrow way. Now remember, the arrow way is also pretty much the same as using a number line. Okay, so we're going to be adding 380 plus 200. Let's start with our biggest number. I'm going to add the first 100. Now remember, the numbers do not change for the tens and the ones because we're only adding 100. So 300 plus 100 is 400. Then our tens and our ones stayed the same, 480. Let's add our next 100. 480 plus 100. 400 plus 100 is 500. Is that correct? No, it is not. I forgot my tens and my ones. So remember, those stay the same. So 580. That is your answer for the first set in A. Now let's look at the second set in A. 380 plus 220. Now you don't need to rewrite this whole problem because you're just adding 20 more. Because look at the first set. 380 plus 200. The problem set below it is exactly the same. It's just adding 20 to the second number, 200. So all you need to do is add your tens. So let's start with the first set of tens and 20. So 580 plus 10. Now, your one spot, the number does not change because 0 plus 0 is 0. So let's go ahead and add that over here. Now let's look at our tens. We have 80 plus 10. 80 plus 10 is 90. So you put a 9 in the 10 spot. The one spot number does not change because we're not adding any hundreds. So that stays at 590. So we added one 10. Now let's add the second 10 because there's 20 that we're adding. So let's add that. So 590 plus 10. Now remember, look at the one spot. 0 plus 0 is 0. Let's look at the 10 spot. We have a 9 there, so that's 90. 90 plus 10 is what? 100. So would we do this? Nope, because that would be 1,000. We take the 100 and we add the 100 to the 100 spot. So this is going to be a 0 because 9 plus 1 is 10. And we're adding the extra 100. So 5 plus 1 is 6. So that's 600. So our answer for the second problem set is 600. Now let's look at the third problem set in A. 380 plus 230. Well, we're just adding 10 more than what was right above it, 220. So we can continue on with the arrow method, adding 10 more. So 600 plus 10, 6 stays the same because we're not adding anything to the hundreds. And we're adding a 10, so that turns into a 1 in the 10 spot. And the 1 is 0 because we're not adding any ones. So the answer for the third problem set is 610. So for the first one, we had 580. And then to save time, we just added on our 20. And then we came up with 600. And then we added 10 more to make 610. So that is how you would do the rest of the problems. Because if you look, at the second set, the first part here, look at those numbers. They do not change. But the numbers in the second set of your problem, they do change. They're going up, they're getting bigger. So you take the difference and you add that, you just keep adding on. Saves you time instead of having to rewrite the whole problem and redo the whole thing again. Okay, let's look at the second page of Lesson 3 problem set. So, number 2, solve using the Arrowway or mental math. Use scrap paper if needed. Now, I highly recommend you practice your mental math as much as you can because it's a much faster way of adding, especially if you're out shopping, or you only have a certain amount of money to spend, and as you want to buy some, more than one thing, and you need to quickly add in your head, do I have enough money? I use mental math all the time. All the time. It lets me know, okay, I have these pants that are $50, I have this shirt that is $22, and I have a pair of shoes that are $34, and I only have $100 to spend. Do I have enough money? Let's do that. Before we do this problem, let's work that out. So Mrs. C is at the store. She's at her favorite store, Ross. She gets a pair of pants that's $50. Okay, and then she finds a shirt that is $22. And then she finds a pair of shoes, let's just say $14. She only has $100 to spend. Does she have enough money to buy all three things? Let's add it up in our head. Well, I know that, adding it this way, let's get rid of it. We don't need two of those. Adding it this way in my head would be really hard because I'd have to keep track of the ones place and how much I had there, and then add the tens place, and I forget what I put in the ones place, so that is not a good way to do mental math. One way of doing mental math is grouping by tens. So I have 50. That's a nice even number, 50. 22. Well, I have two tens, which is 20. And I know 50 plus 20 is 70. And then I have 14, which is an extra 10. So 70 plus 10 is 80. So let's write that out. You wouldn't write this out in your head, but let's write it out so you could see it. 50 plus 20 equals 70. 70 plus 10 equals 80. But I still have this 2 and this 4 left, so that equals 4 plus 2 is 6. So I know that 80 plus 6 equals 86. I can do this all in my head. It's really easy. And now I know that, 86, that's less than 100, so yes, Mrs. C has enough money to buy the pants, the shirt, and the shoes. So let's apply that mental math strategy to these problems. Because by now you guys should be pretty good at the Arrowway. We've practiced it quite a bit on these worksheets. let's practice some mental math. Now remember, when you're doing this on your own at home, you can use the arrow way or the mental math way. But I just encourage you to try to do as much mental math as possible, because it really works your brain, and it's just something that's going to be very useful when you get older and you're paying your bills or you're going shopping in the grocery store. Mental math is going to help you a lot. Okay, 490 plus 200. Now this is a 3-digit number, so there's a hundreds, a tens, and a ones. Okay? I'm going to use mental math to add this together. So in my head, this is what I would be thinking about in my head. I'm going to group the hundreds together first. So I have 400 here plus 200 equals 600, because 4 plus 2 is 6. But I still have a 90. I have 9 tens. So I add that to my 600. See how much easier that is than adding this on your own? 600 plus 90 is 690. Okay, let's try another one, the mental math way. See how that is much easier to do in your head than adding the traditional way, regrouping? Okay, let's do 210 plus 490. Now look at, again, a 3-digit number, which means we're going to have a hundreds, a tens, and a ones to add. So first I'm going to group the numbers together by my hundreds. So 200 plus 400 equals 600. But look, I still have tens to add together. I have 10 plus 90. So 0 plus 0, just skip count by tens. 10 plus 90. 90, what's 10 more than 90? 100. So now I have to add this number to my hundreds, and I know that 600 plus 100 equals 700. So that's my answer. Let's do the last one in problem set A. Okay. 490 plus 220. Let's add this doing mental math. 490, so I'm going to group my 100s. 400 plus 200 equals 600. Now I have my tens to add. 90 plus 20. What's 9 plus 2? That's 11. And then you have a 0. 110. That might be a little bit harder to add in your head. So you might want to break up your tens. And now you know that 90 plus 10 equals 100. So you can add that to your 600. So now you have 700. But we have an extra 10 left, right? Because there was 20. So now we add 700 plus 10 equals 710. Oh, and I found this really cool tool on my whiteboard. Looks like a lasso. I just draw this around that and I can delete the whole thing. Whoops, missed one. I just found that out right before I started this lesson. I just remembered it. I want to point something out. I showed you how to do mental math, with each problem set in A, but this is just like the page before. Where look at this, look at the numbers. 490. Let's look at 490 first. $490, oops, stays the same in each problem set, right? 490 doesn't change. However, the 200 does change. Just like on the last page, it just goes up in letter A, it goes up by 10. So what you could do is just keep adding 10 to each sum in your head, and that's your answer. So how our first one was 690, we're just adding 10 to that in our next problem. So that would be 700. And then we're just adding 10 again. So that's another way to do mental math. Look at your problems, and you could quickly realize, oh, I'm just adding 10 here, and I'm just adding 10 more here. So you just add 10 to your answer of the last problem. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, let's look at 3. 3 is your choice how you want to solve it. If you want to use your mental math, if you want to use your hundreds, tens, and ones chart, and if you want to use the arrow method, the arrow way. It's up to you. You choose. And I'm not going to go over any of these because I'm going to let you choose which way you want to do it. I want you to practice your strategies that you've been learning. Now, make sure if you need help, I'll be available on the Zoom meeting every day. Right now it's 9 to 11, but just so you know that time may change, and if it does, I will post it on Class Dojo. Also, I may split up that time. I may do an hour in the morning and then an hour in the afternoon, like around 1 or 1:30, because I know not everyone is available between 9 and 11 for help. So I will try to split those times up and see how that works. If there's a certain time during the day between 7 and 2:30 that works best for you, let me know. In the morning I am doing administrative work, and we still have teacher meetings, and the times of those activities may also change when I'm available for virtual learning. But anytime it changes, I will let you know on Class Dojo. And if you have any questions, make sure that you email me or message me, and I will try to answer you the best I can. Thanks. Bye.